Hello Exeter rider. Now this week you join me at Cliff St Mary and the old medieval bridge, and over here we have the SINNIS Outlaw 125cc. So let's get talking about it first. So what is it? So it's very much like the SINNIS Hoodlum that I've just sent back. I think it shares the same engine, same chassis, but it's just a bit more of a low rider as opposed to the shape of the Hoodlum. So I have an 18-inch wheel on the front and a 15-inch wheel on the rear. The rear one is quite a big wide tyre there, as you can see, so there's lots of contact with the road. And the front as well is very good. I've ridden a lot in the damp on this bike, as you can see, all the mud flung up there, and yeah, it's gripped the road really quite well. And even when I anchor on, the rear will lock up because we've got the linked brakes on this one. There's no ABS, and but the front never locks up even when you're stomping on the brakes. So yeah, very good tyres, so that's always a really good start. On this bike we have a stainless steel exhaust running through, which looks really nice. It's not particularly loud. Obviously it's a Euro 5 bike, so it's not going to be loud. It's got a nice roar to it, considering that it is only a small engine. The engine itself is based on the Yamaha stroke Suzuki older models. Now it is a very well priced bike, and one of the reasons for that is because it is air cooled, as you can see there, so you're not paying for the radiator and the extra piping to make a bike liquid cooled or water cooled. As with most SINNIS bikes, you do get a centre stand as standard, which is really good, because for a centre stand optional extra on most other bikes you're looking at £150 quite often. So it's nice to have that all ready to go, all within the package that you buy. The shocks on the back look really nice with the dampener there, and they are adjustable as well, so you can soften it up a bit. Now compared to the SINNIS Hoodlum that I've just sent back, the handlebars are a lot lower. Obviously the Hoodlum's handlebars are up quite high, whereas this is quite low, and a little bit more practical, I would say, for town riding and filtering through traffic. As much as I like the Hoodlum handlebars, they were very big and quite wide, so for filtering in town, this one's going to be a better option if you're going to be doing a lot of riding through traffic. Now again, if you're a taller rider, then you're not going to have too many problems with this, because it's quite nicely set up. Although the seat height is quite low, the pegs are slightly forward, I would say, and the handlebars are again in a nice position, and you won't even look silly on this bike. Although it is a low bike, it does seem to handle its size and volume quite well. Right, so let's see what it's like to ride. So we've got the key on the side there, as most of these bikes have got. Okay, off we go. So straight away, the first thing that you notice with this bike is that it is it's got a very comfortable seat on it. Really nice padding. Now obviously, being a 125, it's not going to have a huge amount of power, and most 125s which I ride, they are pretty much all the same. You know, it's no sort of faster 125 as such. Some of them you might get a bit more top end out of the bike, but generally speaking, most 125s will normally do about 60 miles per hour, which generally speaking is... Oh, felt a bit of a slide then. Generally speaking is fast enough for most roads, apart from dual carriageway and motorway, of course. We've got a 5-speed gearbox, and we've got the gear indicator there, look. There's no rev bar on this one, so it's all pretty much guesswork really. But going up through the gears, it never gives you any problems. It just does what it's supposed to do. And same with downshifts and finding neutral is yeah, it's nothing to report there. It's just as it should be. Now, as I said on the Hoodlum review, this is a bike that is going to be for a learner rider. You know, normally a young learner rider is the general demographic for a bike like this. Reason for that is that obviously it's a 125cc learner legal bike, so you can ride this at 17. She's on her phone busy. At 17, and all you need is to do a day's course CBT, and you've got the freedom of owning a motorcycle. And again, for a newbie, this bike is pretty damn good. And what you need to remember as well is that you're going to generally not keep this bike for any longer than 3 or 4 years normally, for most riders, because you'll get the bike, you'll learn your CBT and get that done, and then you'll be moving on to bigger bikes once you pass your Mod 1, Mod 2. So, as a learner bike, you know, considering the cost of this bike, it makes a lot of sense and makes motorcycling a bit more accessible to the younger generation that are on a budget. And the question is what's it going to be like long term? Well, I've been keeping an eye on SINNIS bikes for quite a long time now, such as the Terrain, and they're okay, they're alright. They have their little glitches and little issues like every bike does, you know, you're not going to get away from that. But because there isn't a lot to go wrong, what does go wrong is generally pretty easy to fix. So again, you know, it's the garage repair bills are going to be pretty damn good with this bike. Not to mention you get the warranty anyway, parts and labour for the first year. Now, off the lights, certainly not going to run any races, of course. It'll get you away pretty briskly, but again, you know, just in a typical 125 sort of acceleration really. So let's cut over now and we'll go over to the garage and do the walk round. Okay, so the SINNIS Outlaw is a 125 single cylinder engine, and it produces 10.4 horsepower at 8,500 RPM and 9 Newton meters of torque at 6,500 RPM. So that's not big power even for a 125. But in practice, the Outlaw, I feel that 125s are built for learner riders, so the power is still sufficient for someone on L plates or somebody who just wants to pass their CBT. If you want a 125 that has a lot more power, then you might want to look at the Hyosung Aquila GV125 V-Twin. They do ride totally differently. They are very different bikes. Now do bear in mind that I will put the full stats up at the end, but this is just going to be a quick run through. So I'm 5'8" and I have a 30 inch inside leg measurement, and naturally I can sit on it very, very easily. The brakes are quite wooden on the front if you just use the brakes on its own there, but the combined braking is very, very good. And my view on it is that the finish is good enough for what you pay for the bike. This is a budget bike. It's not going to be for everybody. Some people might want to spend a bit more money for that extra peace of mind. But for people on a budget, this is going to be a good start into their biking life. Well, so let's briefly talk about the switchgear on the bike. It's all very basic. It's a 125. So we got on the right hand bar is a kill switch, a starter button, simple as that. Then on the left bar we got a high beam and a low beam, and indicators and horn. So I'll leave you the pretty pictures now. If it's the first time to the channel, if you wouldn't mind dropping me a subscribe, that would be really good. I've got lots more coming up on 125s, and if you could like the video as well, it will help the YouTube analytics side, and again, it would just, you know, give me some sort of payment for doing this review. So that would be great. So, but thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next week.